Hello, I'm Scrumerage. This is just a quick video about One Punch Man. Reach Commander Pen Parker was kind of let me use his channel for this video. Um, a lot of people like One Punch Man, a lot of people don't. The people who like it say, oh, he's infinite, he can beat anyone, beat Goku, Superman. And the people who don't just say, oh, he's just a weak city buster guy. Um, I, I'm not here to talk about that whole discussion. I'm just here to talk about one claim made by those who do not think he's that powerful. Then they say that he was hurt by the final villain in One Punch Man, Lord Boros, in the first season. They say that Lord Boros hurt him. As you can see here, that he took damage. They claim that's narration, and I'm just going to disprove that. There are actually three parts of it. The first part is that is normal narration, as in many other series use bold text for narration. So it's word of God. So if the narrator says he took damage, then he took damage. Second part is that even if that isn't the normal narration text, that the bold text is used, deviating from the rest of the style, simply because it's just a big thing that that he took damage, and that's why they use the bold text. And the third part is that he has scruff marks on him, and they claim that that's damage. That he's bruised and stuff. And I'm just here to disprove those three things. So I'll go up to these pictures up here and I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. 150. Alright, so the top here you see the bold text is for action and sound. And then the other way it's used is on these three pictures right here. It's used for thoughts. Dr. Genius is thinking here. Saitama is thinking about the ugly kid, and then Genos is thinking about Saitama's reputation. So the bold text is only used for sound effects, action, or character thoughts. It's never used for bold text is never used for word of God narration. And then the box text is used for characters' thoughts as well, but it's also used for word of God narration. As Beastville was annihilated. The narration of the one shelter being defended, in the bonus special before Saitama got his full powers, and then the other one where he, per prisoners, claiming that it's okay to molest fellow prisoners because they're already guilty, and one is thankfully putting down in the box text that, note, this isn't true. Yeah, it's not true. You should not molest people, even if they're prisoners. So the box text is either used for character thoughts. That's when Saitama is trying to hit the mosquito. That's where the doctor from the beginning, he's thinking about his brother smashing a city. But yeah, it's only used for the box text can be used for word of God narration, or can be used for character thought. So even if it wasn't a box, you wouldn't be able to argue it could possibly not be word of God narration. So it's in bold text, which is it's only used for effects and characters' thoughts. All right, now I'll go down to the second page, and here's that he took damage, and then Boros afterward. It might be argued that the narration switches to bold due to drama, but Boros brags right afterwards. So he's like, oh yeah, he took damage. I'm going to totally win this one. But as you can see in the original webcomic version, yes, it's not fan art. It's actually the webcomic. I know it doesn't look as good, but this is actually the source material, which is more canon than the manga. So you see, Boros. He's saying, oh, I can see this ending soon. I got a response. He thinks that he hurt him. But you could theoretically argue that it departs from the text simply because it's such a big moment. But again, this is before the moon kick and the meteoric burst, and this is only in Boros' second form, so it's not in his third form, the meteoric burst form, or in his moon kick, or before his final blast, the Planet Buster Roar Cannon. So if his how could his second form hurt him, but his final attacks couldn't? I mean, you could argue that he blocked it, he didn't block the other ones, but his punches from the second form, they're on a completely different level. They're so weak and puny compared to a blast that can wipe away the Earth's crust. I mean, okay, I'm not going to get rid of his planet buster or Earth crust, but his punches in the second form were obviously not crust, but like city busting or continent busting material, and they were like pretty weak. I mean, okay, you can maybe argue city busting, but they were nothing compared to his final attack and his meteoric burst form, where he's just pounding him. One hit compared to all that pounding that hurt him. And look, you see in the manga, I mean, okay, and the manga, it did right after in the webcomic, it just had him immediately go to his final attack, his Planet Buster Roar Cannon. But in the manga, he has the Moon Kick, and he is completely blank-faced. He is not affected at all. So I don't see how he could possibly be damaged by that weak punch from before. And unless you see, down here, it's the Meteoric Burst, he's just pounding him so badly. Yeah. And then the third point is that the scruff marks signify damage. As in, look, he has smoke coming off from him, he's scruffed all over, so he's bruised up and stuff. But in the second picture over here, you see where he's fighting Azura Rhino, or Carnage Kabuto, and he's scruff marked all over, but he's not even thinking about the guy hitting him. And so he's completely bored by him. He was not bored by Boros. He thought Boros was like, oh, Boros is pretty strong. But Carnage Kabuto was just so weak that he was nothing to him. He died from one normal punch while Boros took, however many punches. I mean, okay, I'm not getting the whole discussion of whether or not you could have finished in one punch. That's a completely different one. But Carnage Kabuto was nothing compared to Boros. So how could he scruff him up? But Boros could only scruff him up just as much. And then the last part, just to show, with regard to the bold text, that it signifies thought. It shows, later Garo. That's okay. Spoilers. He's thinking to himself, and he thinks in bold text. So I think it's a transition where he's slowly moving to bold text for important character thoughts. Yeah. So again, only the box text is used for Word of God narration. The bold text is never used. So the first, let's go down. The first claim, question 1 was bold text narration. Claim, bold text commonly used for narration. The bold text is only used for sound effects and thoughts. Box text can be used for narration, but also thoughts. Most likely it was Boros' thought, not the narrator. Claim is false. Second claim. Claim, damage so important that it deviated from the standard. Boros only used box text for the thoughts. That is true. When he was thinking, he only used box text. So you could argue that, that it's just because he got damaged, it's such a big event. But again, the original webcomic only has Boros bragging, has no narration on the panels, nothing about him being damaged or anything. And again, this before Boros punched him with a meteoric burst, which only received Saito's blank face in response. And again, it didn't use the Crustbuster blast. And then, Garo in the future used bold text for thoughts. So the bold text is likely just used for very important thoughts. Most likely, when Saitama he was knocked over a bit, he was probably just taking it and trying to look like he was hurt. just because he felt bad for Boros. He's pitying him. He's like, oh, this guy's pretty strong. I mean, I could still demolish him, but he's a lot stronger than everyone else. And yeah, he was just he was just pitying him and flattering him. So the claim is false. Then the third claim, scuff marks signify damage. Again, Carnage Kabuto scruffed up Saitama, and he was blown away by our normal him, so there's no way that he could scruff him up, and then Boros could scruff him, that he couldn't make him bleed at all. And yeah, Saitama was so stronger than Carnage Kabuto that he thought about sales. Most likely just dirt from the fight and the skin's custom. Claim is false. Conclusion, Boros never hurt Saitama. There's no proof of durability limits. Again, you could argue that, he's only star level like durability. I mean, you could argue that his punches can't destroy the planet. That's a whole different discussion. But this video is just to deal with the claim that he took damage from Boros, which is completely false. Alright, thanks again.